Zoom recording. Here we go. So we can share this conversation with other members of our community, we'll be recording it. And if you guys are already have your cameras turned off, but if that makes you more comfortable, that's totally cool. And today we are launching our very first webinar series. I'd like to introduce my teammate Marty. Hi, Marty. She is the new director for business development for Crew, and she inspired us to start this series to share not only really our experience with engaging communities and building tools for community builders, but really the goal of the series is to bring to light the wonderful work that a lot of our partner organizations are doing when it comes to engaging members online, offline, in this entirely new context that we're living through. My name is Thalys, I haven't said that. My name is Thalys Apud-Martinez, and I am currently joining from Austin, Texas. And I'm the executive director and one of the co-founders of Crew. And Crew is a nonprofit organization that makes online tools. We have specifically a white label tool called the Crew platform that is designed to help facilitate movement building, whether it's for fellowship programs or chapter-based organizations or volunteer-based organizations. All of the members that are partners of Crew are doing amazing work in their communities, leading hundreds, sometimes thousands of local leaders to work in a lot of different issues to help make their communities better. And it's an honor to partner with all of our members. So I would like to introduce you two of those wonderful members we work with. We have Marcela from Yunus and Youth, their program director. Hi, Marcela.
Hello, everyone.
And Marcela, can you share a little bit where you're joining from today, and maybe a quick introduction to what Yunus and Youth is?
Of course, great. Well, I'm Marcela. I'm the program director at Yunus and Youth. I'm based in São Paulo, Brazil, but our organization is registered in the US and we work globally. So basically, Yunus and Youth was created 6 years ago by an Argentinian woman. Her name is Cecilia, and she was living in Bangladesh working with Professor Yunus. And you know, well, not everybody knows, but he's the Nobel Peace Prize winner. He was the creator of the concept of social business and also microcredit. And she was working there with him, and she would get a lot of young people who were very passionate and wanted to change their communities, who wanted to improve their communities, but they didn't know how to run a financially sustainable organization. And basically that's how it all started. We support small organizations led by young people who are trying to find a way to make them financially sustainable. So we do that by promoting a fellowship program that lasts 6 months. And we connect these young people with the tools, resources, connections, anything they need to go from running an NGO or a project into something that can grow and impact even more people. I think in a very short way, this is what we do.
Thanks, Marcela. Yes, I am so excited that you get to share more with us today about your work in your community. And now I'd like to introduce Noha, who's joining as the program director for the Millennium Campus Networks. Noha, do you mind saying hello and sharing also a little bit about MCN?
Yeah, hi everybody. So my name is Noha Al-Khalqi. I'm the programs director at Millennium Campus Network, MCN for short. We are a nonprofit based in Boston, Massachusetts in the United States. And MCN was founded in 2008 with the mission of supporting undergraduate students working on community development and social impact which could be defined from having your own nonprofit to campaigning or doing research based on community development. We have done that in several ways, but our signature program is also a fellowship called the Millennium Fellowship, which is a semester-long leadership development program designed for undergraduate students to take their project to the next level, focusing on providing them with three main components, which is trainings, connections, and recognition. The program is presented in partnership with the United Nations Academic Impact, and fellows get to work on their project, something that they've been working on or initiate through the Millennium Fellowship, at the same time using our experiential curriculum to get the skills and apply it to the work that they do, to learn more about how to serve in their communities and really embedding them in value-driven leadership, in gaining hard and soft skills that are relevant to working on social impact, and also exposing them and giving them access to connections from the private level, public level, UN, intergovernmental connections where global connections of social impact leaders, people that can connect their work to what social impact and how they're giving back to the community, to show them the different ways that they could get involved in giving back and serving their communities. And so once everything, and then through that, recognition is by elevating the work that they do, whether it be on social media or on our webpage, where each one of them has a digital profile on our website, showcasing the work that they do. And after finishing their program, getting a recognition from a certificate of recognition from the United Nations Academic Impact and MCM. So that's the fellowship in short, and it's really what we focus on now and have been building over the past couple of years.
Thank you, Noha. Excited to dive in more. And I think because we're such a small group today, it would be wonderful to hear from everyone on the call. I'd like to go around and spend a minute. Just, I can call your name if that's okay. And if you're comfortable sharing who you are, where you're joining from, and which organization you work with. Marty, I know you're not just a participant. I want to reintroduce Marty, to give her a minute to introduce herself. She's in my team at Crew. Hi, Marty.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm sorry, there's definitely going to be some background noise. It's part of working from home at the moment. Yeah. But I'm Marty Grimmink, and I've been working with Crew just recently on business development. And I love doing that because I've actually been working with Crew as part of their membership and utilizing the platform for a number of years now, because I also run a program called Your Big Year, which is a youth empowerment program. And Crew's platform has really allowed us for years to engage with our global network of young innovators. And so it facilitates so many things for us. So I'm pretty excited to be here. And I'm based in the San Francisco area.
Thank you, Marty. Hi, Carol. I saw you joined very recently. How are you? Oh, I think you're muted. Let me
Sorry about that.
No worries.
So hi, how are you guys? So yes, my name is Carol, and I'm calling in from New York City. I work at Idealist, and I'm an online community organizer. Right now, we're in the process of trying to sort of revamp a volunteering program that we initiated in 2018, and I kind of just wanted to get some feedback about, just how to maybe continue the momentum for participants that we do have, while also getting more people, recruiting more people.
Wonderful.
So,
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Carol. Welcome.
Thank you.
And hi, Simon. I know you introduced yourself to myself, Marty, and I earlier, but I'd like to invite you as well to say hi to everyone.
That was just a practice run. My name is Simon, and I am from Hamilton, Ontario, which is just outside of Toronto. We have a much more local focus, but in Hamilton, we have what's called a community legal clinic, which is a system that goes across Ontario that tries to help people get access to justice, a specific kind of justice. It's split between what we do and there's a access to criminal justice separate stream. And so it's a small group of really hardworking lawyers, paralegals, and community advocates that make sure people can get access to the justice system. And within that, there are a bunch of different groups that can benefit or maybe might have difficulty connecting because of the current more electronic connection piece. So from the public legal education side of the clinic, helping people understand what their rights are in the community, to getting people who would support their work to either donate or bring that public legal education into their organizations. There's a lot of connections that can be made, and we're trying to figure out ways of supporting the staff who are really busy doing the work by adding on to that some tools that will help them more easily get the message out locally.
Awesome, thank you, Simon. I appreciate the work you're doing with your community. It sounds very essential. Hi, Zach. I'll would like to introduce you again because we have new members.
Okay. Zach, I'm actually a student who is studying design innovation and service design and trying to applying the design thinking into multiple ways, especially in the local community level. And currently, I'm working on a project about how people can actually doing the participatory design, especially in for the future, like new normal, and also thinking of ways how we can using workshops and any tools that can help people to express themselves in a more safe and also a creative way. So today I've just come to looking for maybe some discussions and insights could be helpful, and happy to share anything that I found during the process.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thanks so much, Zach. Thanks for joining us. And Nairi, hello.
Hi, everyone. My name's Nairi Barnett. I'm originally from California, but I'm actually calling in from Medellin, Colombia. I have spent my career working in international higher education, primarily with study abroad. And I was drawn to participate in this call today just to learn more from existing organizations that have, been successful with virtual kind of online programming, as that is likely going to be a new path for the international education community, just due to travel restrictions and things that we're all experiencing now. So I think it'll just be kind of a helpful discussion to learn from and hopefully build on my skill set a little bit. So I appreciate you putting this on.
Wonderful, thank you. Thanks for joining us. We actually have a reasonably sized community of organizations that do study abroad, gap years. Marty, that is one of her main expertise. So it's good to have you, and hopefully we can continue in conversation after this call. And we, sorry, thank you, Nairi. And we have one more participant who just joined, Taiwo. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Welcome. We're just wrapping up our introductions here. If you feel comfortable, if you like, we'd love to hear from you if you want to share where you're joining in from and what organization you're here representing.
All right, good afternoon from Nigeria. And I'm Taiwo Adebi, and then I'm from Team MC and Millennium Campus Network.
Wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Well, we can continue our conversation with Marcela and Noha, who are our wisdom sharing partners for the day. I'd like to go back, as you've heard, Marcela and Noha both lead fellowship programs within their organizations. And what I find so fascinating about both of your programs is just how engaged your members are. They're from all around the world. And I would like to ask another question in panel style to continue, which is, how do you recruit your members? Where do you find them? How do they come and join your program? And where are they joining from? Noha, would you like to share first?
Sure. So the fellowship is a global, and it's open to undergraduate students worldwide. And so we have an application process online that we've built. And initially how we reached out to students was actually through universities, is letting university centers, student centers know about it. Over the past 3 years, we've actually seen the trend be more about current past Millennium Fellows reaching out to their community members, and kind of more than I think 50% this year for the class of 2020 came from current past Millennium Fellows that have shared the opportunity. So which is pretty exciting. Yeah, I mean, it's social media marketing sometimes, as well as reaching out and kind of intentional outreach to university centers that promote opportunities for students.
Wonderful. Thank you, Noha. So are all of your members students? Yes, right?
Yeah, they're all undergraduate students. They all have to be taking classes between August and December, which is the semester where the fellowship is held. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. How about you, Marcela?
Yeah, for us it's actually very similar. Our fellows, they don't have to be studying, but they are usually 18 to 30 years old. I think the average age is 28 years old. They come from anywhere around the world. So we had fellows coming from, I think, 60 different countries. 30% of them come from African countries. So mainly Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana. And then we have around 30% that come from Asian countries. So especially Bangladesh and India. And then we have a very big representation as well from Latin America, especially Brazil, Colombia. And then the rest of the world comes in a smaller proportion. And basically to apply, the person must be running and in an early stage social business. So they have usually started working on their initiatives like for 2 or 3 years. They have already tested their prototypes, and now they have some like adult challenges. So they need help with their finances, marketing, go-to-market strategy, and that's where we come in. To promote it, what we do is we also reach out to partner organizations. So with other organizations that work with young people, so young entrepreneurs around the world. We also do a lot of social media outreach and promotion. And we, try to talk to organizations just like Noha's that I didn't know of, but we are usually a program for people who to join after they join one program like this, where they get to develop their initiatives a bit further. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcela. That's it's so neat that you have such a global presence, both of you. Marcela, since you're unmuted, the next question that I'd like to ask is more of an invitation to share with everyone in this call just a little bit more the details of what does it look like for your members to join as a fellow? What are the different tools that you equip them with? At least, I've pulled out what is Yunus and Youth's crew platform, which is their own platform for their members where they host their fellowship. And Marcela, anything else that you would like to add in terms of how the platform connects with other touch points that you've designed for your fellows as part of your engagement strategy?
Of course. It's funny because this is my page with my picture and
my special powers.
So the fellowship changes every year. We're always upgrading and trying to bring new features and, working on the feedback that we get from fellows. So this year, what we did is that we launched a warm-up period before the fellowship started. So we wanted to give the chance for more people to learn more about our program and to understand how we work. So if you see these like tracks in yellow, they are the tracks that we had a broader group joining. So they had the chance to go into the platform and learn more about the work of Professor Mohamed Yunus, about the social business concept, and they also got to explore their value propositions. So after we did this initial sessions with them, and then we don't only use the platform, we also do like webinar sessions with them. We send lots of emails, we have WhatsApp group, and we're always in touch with them. So they were connecting not only on the platform, but also with us in other ways. And so after this finished, we pair the selected fellows with mentors, and that's how we got to the final group. So today we have 30 social businesses joining the program, but 33 entrepreneurs. And then they started joining the Tracks in Orange, which is the Rio Fellowship program. And we do have 2 more sessions that they don't show here because they haven't reached their point into the fellowship yet. But basically, they have around a month to work on the modules. They start working on their solution, and then so these are the activities, and then you can see their responses. Yes, so they get to answer the questions, and then comment on each other's work, and we also give them feedback. So we try to read everything and comment, and just give them extra resources. They post a lot of pictures if you go up, like each activity, we also put additional resources. I don't know if this one has. So we try to do like the theory, and then ask some questions and provide additional resources if they want to go deeper into the subject. And the idea is that they'll complete each module. They work with their mentors on a one-on-one basis so the mentors help them also respond to the activities. And then we also do monthly webinars with them, so they get to share more with us, and we continue the process like this. So when we get to the end of the fellowship, they will get to pitch the business plans that they developed during the activities. This will all become a pitch presentation where they will talk to a panel of impact investors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Marcela.
I talked a lot, but
no, this was great. This was great. Yeah, it's nice. I find it helpful to hear the details of how you're running your fellowship. I personally love how you've created that 2-level group. So I'm just going to show everybody here on the call real quickly how Marcela's created this this series, this kind of like progressive content for your members that breaks it down step by step, where before the fellowship begins, everybody must complete these 3 steps. When they finish the 3rd one, Marcela approves the people who've been accepted, and then they get a new series of content placed on their dashboard where they get to now start the next series of the fellowship. And along with, like you're saying, Marcela, all of that one-on-one and small group conversation via Zoom and other online means, it seems like that kind of blended support and blended learning seems key for how successful your program is, right?
Everything's done online. The fellows can be anywhere in the world, and the mentors can be anywhere in the world as well. So I think this international component is very enriching, because you get, people from different backgrounds working together. Mm-hmm. So they give, different feedback, and it's very nice to see the fellows reading each other's answers and then complimenting. And then when we do the group call, they say like how they also share more. So, they say how important it was to see what others were doing. And sometimes that gets confusing as well, because, there's not one solution for, especially when you're talking about a business model, like there's no right answer to any of these questions. So sometimes they get, is my answer wrong? No, it's not wrong. There's no wrong answer.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you, Marcela. I'll now ask the same question to Noha, if you don't mind just taking us through a little bit more of what your fellowship looks like and how you engage your members.
Sure. Yeah, so with the fellowship model, it's structured in a way that we call train to trainers model. We train 2 leaders in each campus that we select to host and lead the training sessions for students on their team. And so one of the main requisites of the Millennium Fellowship for the campuses that we select is that there is between 8 to 12 students on a given campus. Traditionally, the fellowship has been a hybrid between online and face-to-face in person, where online is where they get to engage with the global community, get to meet campuses, and other places get to engage and reflect on the content. And offline is where they implement their project, think about their projects, whether it's, however frequent they work on it. It's each person has their own journey, and then come together to complete the training sessions with each other as a cohort, and then hop online to share reflections with the broader community. Of course, given this year is a little bit different, a lot of these trainings are just hopping online on Zoom and will be taking place virtual instead, which we've done in the past with a couple of campuses for different reasons. And so the shift is going to be more virtual for most campuses this year. And our program, given that it's global, in 2018, when we actually took the program from being US based to a global opportunity or fellowship for students, we were present on 30 campuses in 15 countries. And this year we just announced the class of 2020 2 days ago, and it's going to be around 1,400 students in 80 campuses in 20 countries. And so we're very excited, and we'll be, Talis will have a lot of work to do on getting the new class up on crew. But it's really exciting now because a lot of the discussions that may have happened also in person when they were meeting face-to-face on their communities will now take place on crew. So we're very excited for that. So yeah, with the fellowship on crew, a lot of our training sessions are hosted on crew. And so a lot of the education, the curriculum, the activities are all hosted there. And as I mentioned, in each campus, there's going to be 2 students that lead the program. And these students we call campus directors, and they have their own special sessions like you see here. And so they get to see a sample training session instructions, and then they see the training session instructions we structure them to be 6 in default training sessions. And then they have a toolkit that gives them more resources, support, ways to kind of get best practices from other alumni, and many different things, our logo or marketing materials, anything that they need to facilitate the fellowship on their campus. And where we would share that with them. And so as you see here, these are the training session instructions. We provide them with everything from here's the agenda, here is the breakdown of the activities, the sheets. So everything is embedded in one place for them. When they are getting ready to prepare for one session, all they need to do is hop onto their campus director section, select the session that they will be working on, and get access to all of the information from there. Campus directors have this as a kind of smaller community of campus directors globally to get to ask questions, reflect, share how it went, if there is any input that they have for other people that are going to be doing their session at the same time or at a later time. So getting the chance to kind of brainstorm together as a smaller group has been a great space for them to talk. So these are, they share pictures of their first one, which is also pretty awesome to just show, we've met and here's what we've been able to do, which kind of builds that sense of community and gets them engaged. And this is actually something that we ask them to do on their first meeting, is once you get your cohort together, share pictures, and it really kind of excites everybody to get to see the students from around the world. And several of them continue doing it on a kind of session basis. Every time they meet, they take pictures and they share it with the teams globally. So yeah, they get access for everything here in terms of the agenda information and any kind of tools that they need to support. They also have 2 things that they submit after their fellowship session ends, which is an attendance in a session form, and it's also in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And then aside from that, there is the fellowship training sessions. Though these are open to all of the fellows, and so it doesn't have all of that information. That is the agenda, instructions, what to say, what to speak. It's all of the content that they need, that they could so they could follow up with their campus directors if they want to take a look at the materials before the session and engage in meaningful discussions, or after, and kind of use it to reflect on what we've done throughout the week, or throughout the session. And so fellows have the exact same thing on a more simplified level, or on a more kind of just content level, without the leading part, spread out on different sessions, and different modules, or modules for the students.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, keep going.
Yeah. So I think these are kind of the main things. And then we've structured kind of crew to have these three different categories. So one is campus directors, one is the fellowship training sessions, and then one is just resources and submissions. So we ask them, there are several deliverables throughout the year, but it's also just getting a space where they can make sure that they have everything they need for graduation, that if there's external resources or additional things outside of that they have access to it. They have their public profiles on our website, and so when they need to make changes, they just submit it on crew, and it's helpful for us to just approve those changes that they need to be made. And it's just kind of a one-stop shop for fellows to kind of be on here, and engage in the experience, completely virtual. So I'll pause here, and if there is anything that I've missed, Alice, feel free to let me know.
Thank you, Noha. That was so inspiring, and I love how MCN and Millennium Fellowship engage with leaders from so many countries around the world, who then in turn mobilize small groups. I think that's something that in our work with crew, that's a very typical way to organize across organizations, right? It's the core of a grassroots structure, right? Where most of our organizations are very, very small staffed with a wealth of volunteer mentors or coordinators or alumni who are serving as that like mentor role for active members or volunteers of a program. And then you have that key key role that the local leaders play in bringing together their teams to generate change, whether it is from working on a social enterprise like both of your organizations do, to running different kinds of volunteer programs, which we'll be focusing on in the upcoming webinar series. But it's just such a successful model, and you do such a great job, Noha, and you as well, Marcela, at really building that leadership that that leads to community building and action locally. And I think the next question that I would like to ask is, what would you say your top 3 learnings are when it comes to organizing and bringing together people online who are doing work offline? Like, what would you say you've learned throughout the years, and could be things that others could learn from as well who are joining in this call? Maybe, Marcela, since you unmuted.
I think like my top learning from all this time that we have been trying to build a community online and to engage a community online is the human touch. So the platform and all the structure, the methodology, the PDFs, exercises, spreadsheets, it's all very important. We need to do that to be prepared to run the fellowship, but then the human touch of having someone that's personally responsible for engaging everyone and to checking in, and because these are all human beings and it's all people going through all of this structure that we created. So being in touch with them and understanding them, and being open to just like having a call if someone needs, and being in touch and updating everybody. Like this one person that does that is essential. Sometimes it's more than one person, but if you have at least one person that owns this and is in charge of taking care of the people who are going through the program, I think this makes like everybody's lives so much easier and better to run through the program. Yeah, I think this is the main thing, the most important thing. And the second one is like getting ready beforehand. So we try to plan as much as we can before the fellowship starts, because once it does, you get, so busy in running it that you don't have time to prepare new materials and so on. So we try to, to before the program, we try to, list everything that we want to do new. So this year we want to do this and this is new. So we already like get together and start working on the documents and have all the content ready beforehand. So this is also helpful. I don't know, Noha, what you think?
Yeah, no, those are great points, Marcela, and I have to agree. I think part of what has mobilized people to be excited about the fellowship is getting to meet each other face to face on the trainings and get to meet their community, and with that excitement, bring it online. I do think that we would still we've been able to recreate that in campuses that were online from the beginning by hosting webinars, by just having kind of that face to face, and for them to also get to meet face to face and or I guess virtually and connect. I think, for me, the top learning from the organizing that we've done and building this online community has been ensuring that we have a strong feedback loop. And I think that's one of the reasons why we keep the fellowship small every year, despite the number of applications that we receive, because we want to make sure that those campus directors that we work with, there is a point of contact for each person, and that we're getting that feedback on a session basis. And I think I'm grateful to be in. We are a small team, but I think the pro of it is we get to make changes if we need to make changes during the fellowship, which could be very challenging. But if they are small and it could benefit the group, it could benefit the teams, that we could hop on it and make that change. And so I think with crew, we have those session feedback after each one that campus directors receive and submit. And so, we try to take a look at them on a regular basis and see if there is something that we could do before the rest of the teams have their sessions that could potentially be helpful. It could be a new idea, it could be a feedback, it could be a typo, it could be anything. And so just keeping that open. Both using kind of online tools like the forums, but also having the check-in points with them as much as or as frequent as we can to get that feedback. And so that is helpful, and that helps us make sure that our content and whatever we're presenting is meeting students where they are. If there's something that's missing, that we are thinking about, for example, for the next fellowship iteration, if there are specific skills that they were hoping to see or things like that. And so I think, that's definitely number one. And then to your point on number two, it's also kind of leveraging the different tools that are, for example, within crew, and also just in a general kind of speaking with technologies that could help us continue doing community mobilizing. Like with crew, we've been kind of moving a lot to learning more about leveraging the events section when we have our webinars, and making sure that students have a space there, not to just attend webinars that we're hosting, but for them to know that they could hold webinars, not just for their communities, but for students in, worldwide. And so finding ways for them to get to understand how to use crew, or how to use the technologies that they have access to continue mobilizing their communities as well, because it could be very powerful. We have been doing webinars with global leaders in the past 3 years, but we just piloted last year conversation hours between fellows themselves to try and bring the global community more in touch, because until now it's mostly been on these discussion forums and dashboards, which is great, but taking that conversation into kind of a webinar setting, and so leveraging the events, putting that there for them to know that I can hop on it every week and I can talk about the issues that I care about, is something that we're very excited to do this year. We've piloted it last year and it went really well. And so we're taking it to be kind of weekly conversation hours that we put on this year as well, which is very exciting. So I think those are kind of the top two that I would say and add. But definitely, I think the third thing actually is, it's something that we try to do, and we continue, trying to do, is for us as Team MCN to engage with the students as frequently as possible on the platform, because in the it's usually students talking with each other, but we found that when we get to share thoughts, or when we get to engage with them, all of a sudden there's a lot more engagement, and there's a lot more kind of draw into being able to participate even more, and so that is a time kind of capacity issue that we've just always been juggling with, but it is something that we're hoping to add more of it. It's just being in these platforms and being kind of role models, and to here's how you can leverage it, and being active participants, just like we would like for them to be active participants in it as well. And so just, I guess, leading by example and continuing to do that as much as we can.
Thank you, Noha.
I'm gonna and I wanted to jump off of actually something that Simon wrote into the chat, because from my standpoint, one of the things that is really important has been organization of the materials and simplifying. And for us, we use Crew to facilitate specific programming for our youth, and we kind of use it less as a global forum, because we have social channels where we do that type of engagement. But the organizing of the steps and simplifying the materials, I think for me that has been essential in terms of delivering the type of programming and curriculum and opportunities that we provide. But I found that we had to be a lot more disciplined in the way that we did things, because of fortunately, because of the structure that Crew gave us. And so it's made a huge difference just in terms of the engagement back. And we use it to link all, as a dashboard, to link a lot of the things that we do into one seamless area. So especially when we have youth participating, they might participate in multiple projects at once with us. But we can facilitate all of that through the steps that we provide, plus just give them, some tools to come in for, if they come to our platform. So simplifying has been my biggest thing for engagement digitally.
Yeah, it's amazing. I feel like that's a common experience in all of the work we do with programs, is as you get ready to list into one sole place every single interaction and touch point and request that you make from your community into one place, very quickly I think we all realize, we've been asking for too much. But sometimes it's hard to quantify when something's come in an email, something's come from a Google form or in a Facebook forum. So that's very helpful feedback, Marty. And I always want to share. I think before opening the group for a Q&A or any, in case, I say that. So if you have a question, start getting ready to share. But I'll just say that one of the things that I believe make both Yunus and Youth and Millennium Fellowship so successful, along with really your big year too, Marty, here in the call, is that you have a very specific ask from your members, right? These are communities, the communities that we work with are coming together in relationship to work on an issue that they're very passionate about. There's very tangible ways to get engaged. In this case, it's a fellowship, right? What a more tangible way than a fellowship to specifically guide a community through a community focused and immersed learning experience where we're all exploring different tools and different methodologies together, bonding over the work that we're each doing on the ground, and then coming off the other side of the experience as more passionate and better equipped members of our communities, right? And I think that that having that very clear call to action or mode of engagement that your organization brings as a container for communities is key to really facilitate engagement. So with that said, I would love to hear from everyone in this call, if you have questions or comments, thoughts you'd like to share with all of us, I want to acknowledge that many of you joined in the middle, and we're so happy you're here. Thank you for spending your morning, afternoon, or evening with us. So I guess, Marty. Yes, sorry, Marcela. Thank you.
I wanted to ask a question for Marty and Noha, because this is the first year we're working with Crew, and now we're already thinking about our next cohort. And I wanted to hear from you that you have been using it for a while. So do you have different cohorts joining the same activities, or do you create like a completely new set of tracks and activities for new cohorts? This is something that I was curious.
It's a little bit of both for us, because we have projects that we have ongoing stuff that anybody who comes into the platform that we bring in, and they can come in at any time, they get that general engagement curriculum information. But from there, we find that we'll then have like a specific corporate project or a cause project or specific challenge, and then we create a new cohort or new track to deliver that material. But that may not involve everybody who's in our community. So then we have like a specific breakdown. And again, for me, it's been helpful to layer information in. I kind of really loved see, that's also for me what I've benefited from so much from Crew through the years, is that they've had me involved with these opportunities to meet with other organizations doing stuff. So I've learned from what other people do. But I loved seeing like how you're layering in, like first you come in and you've got this information, then you bring in the next information once you've finished those tracks. Like that's a super helpful way to like think about the materials. And, we're constantly trying to figure out how do we deliver a really engaging experience, but that leads them to that next step. And it's a hard thing to track.
Yeah, for us, it's been, we've actually moved once students graduated. So I guess it's a simpler process. Once students graduate, we've created for them, and I guess a category of alumni, and they have one track that they have access to kind of materials that they've gone throughout their fellowship period. We encourage students to take the content that they've learned and kind of share it with their own team members, whether it be Millennium Fellows or project team members that they've worked with. And so, keeping that on Crew for us is very important. And we move them all to kind of an alumni group so that they could continue to engage if they want to, but at minimum that they have that as an access tool for them to be able to go back and get the content that they've always, that they've gone through and would need for the future. And so we move everybody as soon as they graduate from their status, wherever they are as Millennium Fellows or campus directors, to alumni class of X, and they get access to all of the information that they've gone through in just one kind of compressed track for them.
Simon has a question for both of you about the computer literacy. Are you do the people that you're engaging, do they come with strong computer literacy skills, or is that stuff that you help them learn, or are they comfortable using your processes?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so when we started using Crew, especially with the fellowship that went global in 2018, we only kind of required campus directors to use it. And in the process of selecting campus directors, we wanted to make sure that they have access to, one, just to be able to engage with Team MCN, be able to kind of use the computer and go online and engage with us, and then had a specific training with them in the first 2 weeks of the program to show them how Crew works and what they need to do and what to do and how to get the information and the sessions and how to engage. And for the fellows, it's optional. And so if they would like to join, if they have the skills, if they want to hop on, they can. I know in several of our campuses, campus directors led trainings for their team members and encouraged person to hop on. But I think for that point, we've been a little bit more accommodating and flexible, just knowing that not everybody, one, has access to a computer or a laptop during the fellowship semester, and two, if they do, they might not have the skills to use different platforms. And so campus directors, the students that we've required them to use and made sure that they have the training and the ongoing support from us if they have any challenges or questions. But not for fellows, just in case that is going to be an issue.
Yeah, for this, so we also do have different programs. So for the fellowship program, we don't have this issue of computer literacy. What helps, we do have an issue that some people don't have like steady internet connection, and this is something that can become a problem sometimes. But I think now what we have is that's very helpful is the app. So Crew already developed for us the app, so people can access the platform also on their mobile phones. So that's very helpful. I know that a lot of our fellows don't usually use, a desktop, but they do have the mobile phone, so they can do that. And that's helpful for them. Last year we ran a program similar to what Noha was mentioning, that we trained trainers to multiply the content as well. And for that program, what we did was we ran specific sessions with everybody that was joining. So not only the fellows didn't know how to use the technology that we needed, but also the trainers. So we also did sessions with them on every tool that we were going to use. If we had new crew at that time, it would be so much easier because we could just teach about one platform. But at that time I didn't know of them, so we used like different tools and we had to teach them all of them. But in the end it worked. But yeah, having the in-person trainings about how to use the online workspace, it was very helpful as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Marcela. We're running close to the end of our time, but I want to invite Kehinde to share some thoughts you mentioned in the chat that you would like to contribute. I'd love to invite you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a great session thus far. So I must say that I'm coming to share my thoughts as one of the beneficiaries of the platform, because I was part of the inaugural class of the Millennium Fellowship 2018, the global. So I was on the end, not as an organizer, but a participant of the fellowship program. And, from Nigeria, where we have some difficulty to computer literacy, one thing that really struck me is the user-friendly model of the platform. That is, the way MCN presented it. In as much as it was very much exposed at first to the campus directors to get toolkits to train others, it's not much of a problem. I think the information are quite clear and straightforward of what to do and what not to do. I know there's this feeling of when you have to go to a platform to really see, okay, your progress made, have you completed this? And there's even a measure of, getting badges. So it's better off than just having, loads of emails. Then, okay, you should do this, these are the materials. And most importantly and uniquely is that there's an opportunity to share experience, on the platform with other campus directors globally. So even though you are not there physically, the virtual experience happens to be real even before the COVID-19 pandemic, that we have no choice to resort to virtual model. So it has been a fantastic one thus far. So I must say that Team MCN, through the non-fellowship program, really developed a great model. And I'm quite elated and excited to see that not only do we have the campus director having access to it, and now we have fellows. One thing is certain, that at first, maybe the first or second week, the fellows might have one or two issues navigating the platform, but as they run through the fellowship program, they have the opportunity to learn much more about it. So I'm really glad coming on board also as a member of Team MCN to see how we can, incorporate more new models to the group platform.
That's
so
great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining. That's wonderful. You're it sounds like you've had a great experience with the Millennium Fellowship. I'm glad to hear that. And unfortunately, we have just a couple of minutes. I would just like to close by thanking everybody who has joined today. Thank you, Marcela, Noha, and Marty, for sharing your expertise and the wisdom you've acquired throughout the years in building communities online and offline. For everybody else, feel free to get in touch. Crew, we are a nonprofit organization. Everybody in our team, our background is in mobilizing communities, from youth movements to volunteer organizations, and our passion and our heart is in building tools together that can benefit the entire nonprofit space, and to share best practices along the way and be in community as leaders of different nonprofits around the world to continue evolving together and helping make this world a better place for the generations that come ahead of us. So thank you so much. And you can see here, our email is here. You'll hear from Marty with a thank you message after our call today. And yes, get in touch. I would love to hear more personally from the work you're doing on the ground, and if there are any ways in which we can support you and serve your mission, it would be our honor. So thank you. Marty, anything else as we close?
No, that's great. Thanks so much for everybody for joining for the very first webinar that Crew has run. So first one ever. That's very exciting. Thanks.
Thank you. Marcela, Noha, any last words?
It was great learning about Marcela, what you do. So thank you for, I think, places like this and opportunities to connect with more organizations is always really, really exciting. And so you leave learning a lot of things as well. And so thank you for putting it on, Taos and Marty. I'm really excited. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. But
thank you, Noha.
Yeah, no, for me, it was amazing just to see how other people also do, to use the platform. So I just had a lot of new ideas of new features we can implement. So thank you so much for sharing, and I'm just amazed by your work as well. So congratulations, and let's keep in touch. If you want to reach out, you can send me an email also, as well.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Marcela, and thank you again, everybody. Kahinde, Simon, Zach, Nairi, Taiwo, Megan, and Tanya. It's a pleasure to have spent this time with you, and hopefully we'll keep in touch. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.